Good morning and welcome back to the channel. I'm Mal, the Veg Plot Man, down on the allotment on a very damp and dreary, miserable day. I came down yesterday, did a little bit on the shed extension, but today I'm going to take it easy, and I've actually sat down now and started to plan what I'm growing and where. Not really got into specific varieties or anything like that yet. I start off by doing a little simple sketch, and I then fill in the beds and we go from there. So yeah, I'm coming to the end of all this building and moving and everything, so it's really nice to sit down and look through and plan what I'm going to do. I've already made my mind up that I'm not planting sweet corn out in the beds. It's pointless. I'm just feeding the vermin on the site. So the small greenhouse, I'm going to put a handful of sweet corn in there, and hopefully we'll be able to eat those over the summer on the barbecues, and not like last season, feed the huge rats. So yeah, so what I've done, I've spent sort of this morning just looking and planning. So what I'll do is I'll take you out onto the plot and I'll go through what we're going to be doing. Let's go. So as I say, I came out yesterday and did a little bit of work on this part of the garden. I've taken out the stepping stones there because there used to be a path coming from down the plot across here, so I've taken those out, and I'm gonna put a stepping stone path in and across over to there. So we've decided, or the consensus was, to use the black oak on the outside of the shed, the whole shed and the whole structure, the storage, but leave the inside with just the wood. So what I'll probably do is just get an orbital sander on there, sand it down a little bit, and then just put a stain or a protector on it, something that'll lift it, and just show the grain a little bit, and we'll see how we go with that. Just quickly, I went round, I'm staying off this grass now. I went round yesterday and pointed in all the edges, so it's completely sealed, so fingers crossed, and that should keep any water out that's coming up from below. Right, so as we walk from the top of the plot downwards, this bed here with the baskets on and a little bit of junk, I've decided I think I'm going to make planting there roses, because obviously this part is going to be the garden. I'm planning eventually to put some sort of structure going up here and down here, because I've got a climber there, a clematis, which is budding, which is great to see, because we moved it when we were moving the greenhouse. So yeah, so this is going to be the garden. So I thought roses down here, really nice sweet smelling roses, that'll be a lovely entrance. On this part of the plot, these two beds here, we are going to be growing my onions. So I've got Red Carmen and we've got Ailsa Craig, but what I'm thinking of doing is just at the back edge of these is maybe just putting in some fennel on both edges, just to give a little bit of height, just sort of, and to create a backdrop to the flower bed here. So red onions in these two beds, Red and Ailsa Craig. All right, let's move on. So we move on to this bed, and I am going to put a mixture again because it looked lovely I'm going to put some more fennel in there, mixed in with rainbow chard. We don't eat a lot of rainbow chard, we do eat it. And I don't really harvest the fennel, but it's not all about what I eat, it's about trying to attract pollinators and make the site, the plot, look visually pleasing. So that's what's going in those two beds there. Obviously we've got the garlic in here. That will be coming out probably around, it's normally July, August time. And then what I'll do is I'll throw in, just literally liberally scatter beetroot seed and just leave them. And that comes as a late crop of beetroot after the garlic. So that's the garlic there. Across here I'm going to put the brassica cage on there, and we're going to be having some cabbages in there. And as we move down, there will be leeks in this bed. Again, not sure of what varieties I'm going to choose, but yep, leeks will be going in there. I've still got a few down there, as you can see, to take out. Here is the bean trench, and this bed I'm going to try some yard-long beans for the first time. And these were kindly donated to me by Michelle from Michelle's Kitchen Garden. So they're in the post. Thank you very much, Michelle. That's really, really kind of you, and I do appreciate it. So I'm watching out for those turning up in the post. But that's what's going to be growing up that structure. And this year I'm going to make sure that, you know, I do a better job on it than I did last year, because the wind got hold of it and I had to end up staking it down. And we move across. Another job that I've got to get done is create another brassica net here, because I'm going to be putting sprouts in this bed, the first bed here, and the next bed on, this one, I am going to be sharing this bed with some French beans, dwarf French beans, and the other half I'm going to be putting some basil in there. Here, the bay tree bed, I'm going to be putting a courgette on each corner of that bed. And if you remember rightly, I mentioned I'm going to try and create a bit of a standard out of that bay and try and start to shape it. So take some of the bottom leaves off and try and make a bit of a sphere if I can. Right, over to this bed. I'm going to put in this bed some second early potatoes. Again, I'm not sure of what variety, but I do know I've got to pull my finger out and start getting all this stock in. Now, that's the whole point of this. This is about taking stock. It is about thinking about what you're planting, checking what seeds you've got and what you haven't, and then putting a list together, a shopping list together, and then getting those ordered and bought in. So that leads us to this bed, which needs repairing, and I'm going to do that. And I am going to go with outdoor tomatoes. Again, not sure what variety, but this year I'm going to be very, very careful. I'm going to make sure that we've got the necessary heat in the soil to bring them out. I brought them out last year too early, and they just sat there really, really cold, feeling sorry for themselves, and it took an age for them to take off. I had to give them seaweed feed, liquid feed, just to give them a boost. So I'm going to try and prevent that by waiting, timing the seeds, timing the sowing of the seeds, and timing exactly when I put them out. So tomatoes in that bed. This bed over here will be potatoes, and that will be the main crop. And again, unsure. I'll probably go for Cara. I find them quite reliable, and they are quite tasty. So main crop potatoes. Right, these raised beds here. We'll start at this side. On this first bed, I'm going to look at putting some celery in there. And then this bed here, I'm looking at putting in some beetroot. I love beetroot. I prefer beetroot not pickled. I just like it fresh. So that's what's going in there. Then I want spring onions in this next bed. And again, I've got to pull my finger out because those really need to be on the way. So that is an urgent requirement to get hold of those seeds. Then there's going to be a variety of lettuce in this one. And I'll do successional sowing. So I'll sow a couple of rows. I'll start some in the greenhouse, put them out as plantlets, and then what I'll do is I'll sow a couple of rows direct at that point, and do successional sowing thereon. So that's lettuce, and then on this side I'm going to get some well rotted manure into that last bed, and I'm going to get some squash in there, and again try to train them along the fence. So that's those. I've got to get my chainsaw sorted out and get rid of that, so I've got a bit of a clear plot. So that's those. Moving on to these ones. Obviously we've got the onions in there. I've got to make some plans for that when we harvest those. But moving on to this one. Where am I? Yep. So this one is going to be, what have I done here? Oh, sorry, this first one's going to be shallots. So I'm going to get some shallots for this. The second one in there will be parsnips. And that one with the cover on also will be parsnips. And then the far one there is going to be squash again. So these will be out probably around June. Start taking those. So that creates some space if I need to plant anything else. Obviously there's a carrot bed. Wait a minute. Yeah. Obviously there's a carrot bed here. So all my carrots will be going in there. And this is just the flower bed. So there, the plants. Obviously the greenhouse will be turned over to chilies and sweet peppers, and the small greenhouse will be sweet corn and tomatoes. I have got little baskets here, these Hesco baskets. There's 3 of them, which I can put around the site, around the edges, and I can use those to put any other things in that we fancy growing that I've probably forgot. But it's quite cold today, quite cold. So that's the plan. I mean, it's the first sort of version of the plan. I always lay in bed on a night and then eyes pop open and I think, oh, what about? So that plan may move about, but it's always good to start with a plan, get things down on paper, and you can work from there. But as sure as eggs is eggs, you know, within the next couple of weeks, that plan will firm up and we'll have a plan of action and what we're going to do. There are some jobs that I still need to do, like this greenhouse. I really need to get it sorted out. I've got moss growing in underneath the frame, pushing the glass up. which is no good. I've got glass that's slipped, so I've got to get up and take out the glass and reset it again. I've got a puddle as I walk in this door. So yeah, I've got to get that sorted. I've got to get this cleaned out, ready to go. So still a little bit to do. Still a bit to do. What I'm hoping this week is to try and jump onto the guttering down at the log store and get that IBC tank up and running. And literally then I'm going to get this greenhouse tidied, cleaned up. Once Mark comes from Gardening with Plot 21, who gave me a nice mention on Danny's live the other day. Thank you very much for that, Mark. Once he comes up and collects the pallets that he wants to take from there, I'm just going to give that one last sweep the way down, just have a look, picking up all the rubbish, and I want to get that handed over in the next 2 weeks, and then I can draw a line under it. Right, I'm waffling on. As you can see, I'm not doing much today. Sometimes it's great to think about the game rather than play it. So I am going to probably go with my cuppa and join Mick on his plot around the fire, and discuss our plans together. Right guys, thank you very much for watching. Have a lovely the rest of the Sunday that we've got. I hope you're getting a little bit brighter weather than we are. Until next week, take care and happy growing.